Lund would come and lead us in the pledge. Thanks, Eric.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in pledging allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The city clerk posted orders of adjournment of the April 25th, 2017 meeting and the agenda of the May 9th, 2017 meeting in accordance with state law and council authority successor agency to the redevelopment agency policy. We have several presentations on today's agenda, and council, would you please join me below? First on the agenda is a commendation for the El Cajon Valley boys soccer team. I'd like to invite Coach Antonio Levant and members of the team to please come forward and join the council. Guys, come up here, take center stage. You guys are going to have to stand in the middle. Okay, hi, Coach. Hi, guys. Hey, guys, how you doing? Welcome. Congratulations, guys. Hello. There's a lot of you guys. Okay. How many guys on the soccer team at one time? Hey, how you doing? Good. Do everybody get in here? Monica, would you please recite the commendation?
Yes, Mayor. This is a commendation honoring the El Cajon Valley Braves boys soccer team from El Cajon Valley High School. Whereas the El Cajon Valley High School boys soccer team secured a league division victory and went on to win the Division V Southern California Regional Championship, a team that hadn't advanced past the first round since 2012. Coach Antonio Levant, along with an incredible group of talented young men, went from being a no-name soccer team to state champions. And whereas the team comprises a diverse group from all over the world, including Mexico, Iraq, and Syria, with some having lived in the United States for less than a year. They finished out the season as the first seed in CIF with a 19-win and 6-loss record. Soccer is the universal language, according to Coach. They came from different parts of the world, and they came together here in El Cajon. Language is not a barrier because they all speak the same language of soccer. And whereas the city of El Cajon is very proud of what these boys have accomplished, you can't have a team like this without great kids, great parents, and great leadership. They put in a lot of hard work and walked away victors. Congratulations on a season well played and best wishes for a bright and successful future. Therefore, Bill Wells, Mayor for the City of El Cajon, together with the City Council, to hereby congratulate the El Cajon Valley High School boys soccer team, the Braves, on an outstanding year. We further encourage the community to join in applauding the team, the coach, and the school on this monumental accomplishment. Signed this 9th day of May, 2017.
Well, we have certificates for each of these young men, but first I'd like to ask the coach to come and say a few words, and then he'll hand out certificates.
Hi, my name's Coach Tony. I coach these fine young gentlemen here at El Cajon Valley High School. A couple words. It's a hard-working group. There's not a day that I can remember where they took it for granted. They were always there. They're always ready to work. They're always ready to play. And, you know, you don't have a fantastic season like this without commitment, consistency, and school pride. I mean, these gentlemen represented us well. We went to a 22-6 season. We only lost but one home game the whole season, and that's special because, you know, you come to El Cajon and we're not here to show up to lose. We want to compete. We want to bring the game to you, and these gentlemen every day in school and in the field, they take it as much seriously as they can. You know, there's at a certain point when you go to Southern Regionals, you know, you're all playing champions, and just to be top of that shows you the resilience. It shows you the attitude, the character these young men have, and for some of them being here just a short period of time. It shows a lot that, they're willing to accept this, this opportunity to be high school athletes, to be high school students, in the city of El Cajon, and I think they represent us well, and I hope for years to come they keep doing the same, because I know they deserve it, because there's nobody working harder than us.
I'm going to get the certificates. I'll pass it off to Councilman Colostra. He's got a few words to say.
So this is such a proud moment, obviously, for the city. You guys are putting us on the map. I was at a Lions Club meeting, and this teacher at your school is like, you guys have to recognize them. And I was like, well, what'd they do? Because I don't follow soccer too much. So then she told me, and I was extremely, extremely proud of it, each and every single one of you. You put us on the map, the coach, all your hard work, dedication. You can see the passion in everybody, and I just wish I stayed with soccer. I veered off into tennis, otherwise I'd be probably where you're at. How do we give this? Awesome.
Matilt, Moran. Captain Mormon. Danny. Wahid. Samin. Faris. Ronaldo, Elia. Fabi Jaco. Victor Juarez. Norson, Naim. Yvonne. Peter Shamud. Yusuf Sito. Rubio. Michael Johanna.
If there's anybody that didn't get what they're supposed to have, just give me a list of people. We'll make sure they say. Ladies and gentlemen, championship soccer team, thanks. And this, this is Cajon Valley High School has had a lot of winners this last couple of years. We had a basketball team that won it, so we're really proud of you guys. Thank you so much, and thank you for all that you do. We look forward to it. Looks like you guys are pretty young. How many are going to be back next year for the soccer team? Everybody, right? Okay, congratulations. So next year, win again, right? Okay, no pressure. All right, thank you very much, guys. That's the best. I like that. Okay, next we have a proclamation for Bike to Work Week with Susie Lowe, Recreation Supervisor, and Mario Sanchez, City Traffic Engineer. Please come forward and accept the proclamation.
This is a proclamation for Bike to Work Week, May 15th through the 19th, 2017. Whereas Bike to Work Week is a nationwide endeavor to educate the public about the benefits of bicycling and to increase awareness of and respect for bicyclists. The education of cyclists and motorists as to the proper and safe operation of bicycles is important to ensure the safety and comfort for all users. And whereas we recognize and encourage cycling as an important means of transportation and support potential new cyclists in joining our community. Bicycle transportation is an integral part of the multimodal transportation system planned for by city, state, and local transportation government agencies. And whereas the economic, environmental, and health effects of a car-dependent world are extensive and far-reaching, bicycle commuting is an effective means to improve air quality, reduce traffic congestion and noise, and to conserve energy. San Diego area commuters can reduce their weekly solo commute trips and the demands placed on the region's roadways by 20% by choosing a commute alternative like biking to work. Now, therefore, Bill Wells, Mayor for the City of El Cajon, together with the City Council, do hereby proclaim the 15th through the 19th of May 2017 to be Bike to Work Week, and the 18th day of May, that's a Thursday, as National Bike to Work Day in the City of El Cajon. We further encourage residents and employees to recognize the importance of sharing our streets and highways with cyclists and to participate in cycling activities to whatever extent possible during this week, including cycling to work. Signed this 9th day of May, 2017.
So thank you, Mayor and Council members. We have our own pit stop here in El Cajon, as Monica said, May 18th on Thursday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. And if you are going to bike in as a city employee or in the public, make sure you go to iCommute San Diego and register. That's how you get your goodies and your T-shirts. So make sure that you register on iCommute San Diego that particular day, as well as this will be our 19th year. Our 20th year anniversary will come up next year. Taylor started this back in 1998. And council members, I do have your shirts for you today, so I will give those to you. And we also, as part of this Bike to Work Week, we do a special thing for our school children. We do a fundraiser where we give out about 4 to 5 bikes to local school children within the community, and we'll be starting to give those out at the end of the month and in the end of June. And it's really neat because the teachers select deserving students who go beyond, what they academics and well-deserved students that receive the bikes. So come on out, Bike to Work next Thursday, and we'll see you at the pit stop, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., Prescott Promenade.
On behalf of Public Works, I'd like to thank the Rec Department for putting on the pit stop. One interesting fact, San Diego has a permanent count station on Washington Avenue, just west of Hamishaw, and we roughly get about 12,500 bicycle trips per year.
Has that gone up a lot in the last few years?
Well, we had that in place since 2012, and it's gone up a little bit every year.
Congratulations, thank you. Thanks for doing all you do. Thanks. All right, we now have a proclamation for Building Safety Month. Dan Paval, Building Inspector and Fire Marshal, is here to accept the proclamation. Dan, would you please come forward? And Monica, would you please read the proclamation?
This is a proclamation for Building Safety Month for May 2017. Whereas the safety of the buildings we occupy daily is essential to the health, safety, and welfare of the residents of El Cajon. Among the world's most fundamental laws and ordinances are those which provide standards for the safe construction of buildings in which people live, work, and play. Through the efforts of local building officials and their cooperative relationship with the design and construction industry, the administration of these health and life safety standards is assured. And whereas the Building and Fire Safety Division is helping to ensure the public's health, safety, and general well-being by reviewing building construction plans, issuing building permits, and inspecting buildings during and after construction to ensure that they comply with the minimum necessary health and safety regulations. It is this preventive work that contributes to the success of keeping the occupants of the structure safe during an emergency. And whereas in an ongoing effort to ensure that residents and individuals patronizing businesses in the city of El Cajon are afforded the highest construction standards available, the Building and Fire Safety Division is joining municipalities across California to promote building safety through observation of Building Safety Month. This observance emphasizes the important role the Building and Fire Safety Division plays in the development and maintenance of safe buildings in our community. Now, therefore, Bill Wells, Mayor for the City of El Cajon, together with the City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2017 to be Building Safety Month. I urge all residents to participate in Building Safety Month activities to help promote building safety, to create awareness as to the importance of construction and building codes, and to spotlight the role of the dedicated code official in administrating those codes. Signed this 9th day of May, 2017.
Well, thank you. I think everyone agrees that the safety of the buildings that we live in is very important. This very building we stand in now is a safe building, and it's because somebody inspected it, somebody built it, somebody designed it. We also look at accessibility, handicap accessibility in buildings. We look at energy efficiency. We look at green building standards, all in an effort to make sure we have a sustainable future. I'd also like to see if our building division staff, who's here, about half of them were able to make it. The other half are out in the field doing inspections. But you guys want to come on down? And that's Gene Koch at the end there, Wendy Bonilla, Doug Baldwin, and Rick Beaver. And they're the best staff anyone could ask for. They work tirelessly.
Listen, I just want to say that I've worked with Dan in the field, and many of these folks I've seen in the field, and our building safety staff doesn't just go and tell people where they've gone wrong and be very officious about it. They're really helpful with people. They do everything they can to get people up and running and make it safe and make sure that they get their needs met as well. And we've asked them to do that, and we really appreciate their part in making El Cajon a better place and keeping us moving and keeping us going forward. So thank you very much. All right, our next proclamation is for Municipal Clerks Week. I'd like to ask City Clerk Belinda Hawley and her staff to please come forward to accept the proclamation. No hiding. All of you have to come.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. This is a proclamation for Municipal Clerks Week, May 7th through the 13th, 2017. Whereas the office of municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants, this office, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists in cities throughout the world. Whereas the office of municipal clerk provides the professional link between the residents, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels, and serves as the information center on functions of local government and community. And whereas municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the Office of Municipal Clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. And whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the Office of Municipal Clerk Now therefore, Bill Wells, Mayor for the City of El Cajon, together with the City Council, to hereby proclaim May 7th through 13th, 2017, to be Municipal Clerks Week in the City of El Cajon, and encourage our residents to applaud and acknowledge the accomplishments of the office of the Municipal Clerk. We further extend our sincere appreciation to our own city clerk, Belinda Hawley, and her staff for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. Signed this 9th day of May, 2017.
Thank you very much. This is indeed an honor, and I am honored to have such an excellent staff consisting of Angela Aguirre, Deputy City Clerk, and Lorraine Baldwin, Secretary. And it's been our pleasure to provide services to the citizens of El Cajon and to our City Council. Each of us has worked for the city for over 12 years, and some a little bit more. But we continually strive to do a good job and provide the information that is needed in a timely fashion. And it's just an honor to work with all of you, and we thank you for this recognition.
I want to tell you that this job is sometimes extremely high pressure, and all of these people do so with great grace, and we're very proud and happy to have them working with us, and we thank you for because we know sometimes it gets a little pressurized, doesn't it? A little bit? Yeah. She won't tell you, but it's true. No, our last presentation is on April Fool's Day, P-O-O-L-S Day. I understand a video will be shown, so council, let's return to our seats, and Frank Carson, you'll come up and tell us about April Fool's Day. All right, Frank.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you said, I'm here to present very briefly on April Fool's Day. It was hosted on Friday, April 28th at the Fletcher Hills Pool. The brief background of April Fool's Day, it started over a decade ago. And this current year, 5 cities participated, including the City of San Diego and the City of Chula Vista. It actually started with the fire departments out here in East County. So we have a lot of history with April Fool's Day in itself. It's been pushed by the San Diego County Aquatic Council as well as Safe Kids Worldwide. And the big push is making April Fool's Day to give it kind of a nice jingle to it, but promoting May as Water Safety Month. The reason why we want to make it Water Safety Awareness Month, here in San Diego County, the leading cause of death for ages 1 to 4 is drowning, preventable death. So that's something we want to get the community educated about. Also, the second leading cause of death for youth under the age of 14 in San Diego County is drowning. So again, these are public education programs that we're just trying to make the community aware that drowning is real. Let's have a plan in place of being proper around a water environment. And drowning can happen, as we're familiar, in pools, spas, oceans, but also a bathtub, a bucket, any kind of container of water, a drowning can occur. At our event at Fletcher Pool on April 28th, we had a CPR station, as you can see here. We had 200 life jackets to give away. This was given out by the California State Public Health Department that actually donated the 200 life jackets. So that's how we actually got a lot of people there, was promoting that there was a free life jacket giveaway. We have the basic water rescue station as well as a lot of water safety education stations. This was our first year doing it. This was our tester type of year to see how successful it was. We expect it to be bigger and badder next year, but we didn't want to go too crazy over the top on our first year doing it. Nevertheless, we were really happy with the way how it all turned out. We had over 200 people come, so it was a success in our book. As an April Fool's Day joke, as you can see here, we had CVS8 and Univision come, but
East County residents learned some important water safety tips today. The city of El Cajon hosted April Pools Day at the Fletcher Hills Recreation Center and Pool. The goal is to provide families key information to keep them safe around the pool during the warm summer months.
The kids are learning hands-only CPR. They're learning how to take care of themselves in the sun and how to rescue someone safely at a home pool.
The first 200 kids to participate in the event received a free life jacket.
Okay, so that concludes my presentation on April Fool's Day.
Thanks, Frank. Let me see if there's any questions. Any questions from the council? Thanks. Nice job as always, Frank. Okay, on to city business. Agenda changes. Staff, do you have any agenda changes?
No, sir.
Council? We are now at consent items. Consent items are routine matters enacted by one motion, according to the recommendation listed below. With the concurrence of the City Council, a council member or person in attendance may request discussion of a consent item at this time. Council members, do you wish to pull any consent items? Bob?
1.4.
1.4?
1.5.
1.4 and 1.5. All right. Staff, do you wish to pull any consent items?
Yes, sir.
Glenda, do we have any speaker cards for consent items?
I have no cards for this item.
Okay, let's, then I'd like to make a motion to approve consent items with the exception of 1.4, 1.5, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Second.
Moved and seconded, please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
Okay, Bob, I think you had 1.4.
Yes, I know that we're getting a nice bunch of money from, I guess, it's the Transnet funds. Are we able to use any of that for potholes? Because we seem to be developing a few after the rainy winter that we had.
I'm going to ask Dennis Davis, one of our deputy directors of Public Works, to come up.
Thank you. The funds that we're using here are Transnet funds, and they can only be used in the right-of-way for street purposes.
Are there potholes in the right-of-way?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't understand what you said. I thought you said propo or something.
No.
Potholes. We pretty much tackle potholes as a maintenance item where we're just filling them in until we can get to the street and do a proper repair on it. Pothole repairs are temporary in nature. The idea is to get your maintenance up to a level where you're not having a lot of potholes, and that's what we're going to try to use the money to do to get to that point.
Right.
With all the rain we've had, the potholes have really been exacerbated, and we're behind schedule, and so we're trying to catch up right now.
Are you checking the major streets on a regular basis to make sure that you're identifying them so you'll know where to?
The major streets kind of are our priorities, and we have a set schedule on how we're trying to attack all our infrastructure.
I know Hamisha between Washington and Lexington has quite a few in the slow lane going down in the northern.
I can name about 5 streets that are in real need. Johnson Avenue, we're doing some construction there, so we're kind of holding things together.
Right.
Madison Avenue is really bad right down here. We've got a number of streets that need a lot of attention, and we're trying to get those going. We have a slurry seal project, actually, that's out to bid right now. That's going to put a slurry on a lot of streets, but we're going to come back with another overlay later this summer and try to attack some of these other streets.
What are we doing out in front here on Magnolia? They diverted the traffic around the lane.
The Magnolia will be slurry sealed after the water district finishes this water work.
That's what they're doing.
That should happen, we're hoping, early August, right before the hotel. The hotel has a lot of street work to do as well, and when they finish their street work in conjunction with the water company, then we're going to come right in and slurry it, and we should have, the plan is to have a nice brand new looking street when the hotel opens late this summer.
Now, that's a water company that's working out there now?
Correct. That's Helix, replacing a cast iron water line.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions from council?
No. Move to approve 1.4.
Thank you, Dennis. Ms. Bosch on the table. Is there a second? Second. Moved and seconded. Please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
Councilman Goebel, I think you had 1.5.
1.5. This is, as I read through the backup on this, this was, I think, something worth pointing out to the public, that we've spent $28 million on road improvements in the past 10 years. That's a substantial amount of money. And the result is a pavement condition index of 80 citywide, which I believe that's the highest in East County, if not one of the highest among all the 18 or 19 cities in San Diego County. And I think that's a tremendous effort. It goes to the city's excellence in public works and maintenance and planning and engineering, and I think that's just something the public should be aware of, is that this city is really good overall at its roads. And when we do see some potholes, because we're so good at it, they tend to stick out a little bit more rather than being part of the norm. So in a way, that the fact that potholes stick out is unique because we're so good at the rest of the city with an 80 PCI. And I commend the city staff for its achievement and priority in that area.
Excellent.
Not only that, but El Cajon is has some of the best roads in the county compared to other cities and the county, which don't have very good roads, and especially the city of San Diego. They're just falling apart right and left. So it's a good job by the city of El Cajon. Thank you.
Good.
Move to approve item 1.5.
Moved and seconded. Please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
This brings us to public comment. At this time, any person may address a matter within the jurisdiction of the City Council Housing Authority, successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency that is not on the agenda. Comments relating to items on today's agenda are to be taken at the time that the item is heard. State law prohibits discussion or action on items not on the agenda. However, council, authority, and agency members may briefly respond to statements or questions, and an item may be placed on a future agenda. Belinda, do we have any cards under public comment?
Yes, we do have several. The first speaker is Santo Di Grigoli.
Santo from New York Bakery. We love that place.
Yes, my name is Santo Di Grigoli. I'm the owner of New York Bakery. I've been in this county since 2007 when we built a building, which was a landmark for El Cajon. Now, my problem is I represent most of our community, little small business downtown, which we have a problem with the parking from Monday to Friday with attorneys, people that go to court, whatever. They start at 8 o'clock in the morning, the business shut up. Okay, we have a problem. There's no enforcement for the parking. They get no tickets. The city should get us some revenue from these tickets because it's a lot of money. We need an officer on the street too, because they come down the street to like 50, 60 miles an hour or downtown over here. People, they go crazy. Okay? So my suggestion is that if we can put a parking meter with the minimum requirement, whatever is allowed, or each business can be established with 2 parking spaces of 15 minutes so the customer, they can pick up their stuff and go in each business we got downtown. That's my inquiry to this council and the mayor.
Well, first off, thank you for coming. Let me see if there's any questions of the council. Bob?
I know in some areas we've had 2-hour parking, and that would maybe limit the people parking there all day long or for extended periods of time, and I don't know if we actually check to see how long they've been there or mark the tires or anything like that, but it is a problem for the different little businesses along Main Street because we don't charge for parking in El Cajon. They do in La Mesa. In fact, I had to pay in La Mesa yesterday when I was picking something up, and it's something I don't know how to control it best. But,
the question is, you have to be enforced. If it's not enforced, the people that park there 2-3 hours, and
Right.
we, the small business, would depend on the customer that come in and buy a little thing and go to bed, do sandwich or buy sandwich or breakfast or whatever, and we don't have it. They go around two times and then they leave. So
Right.
that's, and I've been here since 2007. This building's a landmark on
Right.
Main Street, but nothing has been done. When I came 2007, it was 30 minutes. It's on the record. And now it's 2 hours when I
Yeah.
came back, open the bakery again. So
Maybe-
anything we can be done to concern our business downtown?
Maybe we could inform the courthouse, too, to let people know and the attorneys not to park there, or the people there for juries not to park there, because I know they like to park where it's closest, and it's not always good for our business community.
Ben, did you have a question?
Yeah, you have delicious clam chowder. I just want to say that. Percentile-wise.
It's not a clam chowder.
Oh, okay. What did we, I don't know what we have yet.
It's a cannoli.
Okay.
Okay.
Percentage-wise, if you had to guess, because I think you said that a lot of people that go to the courthouse park there.
Correct.
And then are you also saying that you disapprove of like the car show parking there?
No, I don't.
Okay, so you're just talking about the court.
The court people, they go to court, they do take all the space. They don't want to
Yeah.
go in the parking space for the courthouse. They just see the parking open there, they're parking there, there's no enforcement, they get no ticket after 2 hours, and then they leave it, they're happy.
It's also the courthouse gets full really quick, too.
Well, there's more parking space over here next to Paramarade, the park, and over here. So they can park there, but they don't want to walk.
Any other questions? Yeah, so just to clarify, I think that the issue here is that in front of your store where people probably stay on the average for 5 minutes, sometimes half an hour if they eat lunch, but for the most part, they're in, they buy something, they go out. There's 2-hour parking in front of all the parking in your store, and it would be good for your business if you at least had some stalls or parking spots that were 5 or 10-minute parking, so people that wanted to get in and get out could do that.
Correct, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to pass it on to our city manager. Do you need anything formal, or can you do a study on this and get back to us on this issue? All right, so we're going to have our city manager look into it. Thank you for bringing it up. We will let you know what the plans are in the future. If it's going to come back to council, we'll certainly invite you so you can come and speak your piece.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and
All right.
the food's fantastic. Thanks.
Thank you.
Eric Lund.
Hi, Eric. Welcome.
Mayor, City Council, and staff, thank you for having me today. My name is Eric Lund. I'm representing the San Diego East County Chamber of Commerce, which represents the fine city of El Cajon. And it's my pleasure today to give you our 2016 annual report, which will give you a good overview of all of the accomplishments of the Chamber this past year. The Chamber continues to grow, not only in membership, but also in programs, and we're very pleased to serve the city of El Cajon and the businesses that we represent. We have about 630 business members at this time, and we're conducting a number of, I think, really great programs that are definitely helping the community and helping our businesses. So we hope you enjoyed the annual report. It's also going to be available online on our website at eastcountychamber.org. So if any of the community would like to look at our annual report, they can find it there, or come by the chamber office and get it in full color. So either way.
Thanks. Let me see if there's any questions from the council.
Okay.
Questions? Eric, nice job. This is a really well-done report. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hildy Kraus.
Isn't that, was it the Music Man that had the song Madam Librarian? Or,
Yeah, I think so.
yeah.
We should have theme music.
Do people sing that to you all the time?
Unfortunately not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll do that next time you're here.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor, esteemed council members, and esteemed city staff. I'm Hildy Kraus. I'm the branch manager and principal librarian at the El Cajon Library. I have a couple of announcements today. Then I'm going to turn over the podium to my colleague, Kristen Ward. It's a two-librarian day today, so it's special. To start, we're hosting our first ever Monarch Butterfly Festival on Saturday, May 13th from 1 to 4. There will be activities for people of all ages, including face painting by the El Cajon Teen Coalition, a butterfly craft, presentations by the Water Resource Conservation District and Master Gardeners, and free milkweed plants to be had. The Girl Scouts will be there as well, talking about a project that they had for growing butterflies from caterpillars. So we hope that everybody will drop by and help us celebrate this essential and beautiful pollinator, monarch butterflies. In other news, I will be retiring at the end of May. I started my permanent career with the county library as a reference librarian at El Cajon. Took a detour to manage our Bonita branch for several years, which was scenic and cozy, but a different pace from El Cajon, and then returned about 3.5 years ago to become the branch manager and principal librarian at El Cajon. I have loved working here. The library staff is superb, the community is fascinating, and we feel very appreciated by the residents of El Cajon and its departments, its government, and office holders. I've been very impressed with what I've seen of local government. Sometimes government has a bit of a bad reputation these days, unfortunately, and what I see is a lot of committed public servants who work hard to improve people's lives without regard so much to partisanship. That's what I see at the local level, and I think I can say safely that I wish we saw more of it at all levels in our country. We at the library collaborate most closely with Parks and Rec, the DPW, the City Manager's Office, the Public Information Office, the El Cajon Police Department, and Heartland Fire. I thank all of you for your support and assistance over the years. What I enjoyed most about being here was the feeling that we are engaged in an effort to make people's lives better, whether we're with the county or the city. And that has been a rich and meaningful experience, not to mention an educational one. I will miss El Cajon, but I look forward to visiting as a civilian. So my last day will be May 31st. And I'm very pleased to announce that Kristen Ward, my colleague who's here and is going to speak after me, will be acting branch manager until the position is filled permanently. She is an invaluable and extremely experienced member of the staff, and she's pretty much been acting as a branch manager all along. So thank you very much for all of the hard work and the good teamwork that we've done over the years.
It seems like you just got here.
I know. I feel that way, too.
And I've been really impressed by your commitment level.
Thank you.
You can tell that you really like what you do and you like the people you serve. And we'll miss you.
Thank you very much. I've really been so pleased to work here. I don't live in El Cajon, but I certainly have felt like it was my town for these last 3.5 years.
Well, now there's plenty of time to move. You can come back. And
Any questions?
Bob?
You will be missed.
Thank you very much.
I don't know that we've ever had librarians come in before and give us the information as timely as you have in the past, and you've done a great job.
We really appreciate the support.
To inform the citizens. And you're on television.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Kristen Ward.
Kristen, welcome.
Thank you. I'm trying not to weep. We will miss Hildy. Good afternoon, council members, Mr. Mayor, and city staff. My name is Kristen Ward, and I'm currently the Youth Services Manager at the El Cajon branch. Today I'd like to talk to you about our summer reading program. Believe it or not, summer is coming up soon. Summer is always a busy time at the library. We have exciting programs for kids, teens, and adults, as well as our Summer Reading Challenge, where everyone can win prizes for reading. Even adults can sign up, so make sure you all come in to visit this summer. Our adult grand prizes this year include a Kindle and gift cards, and our kids' grand prizes include a remote control monster truck and a stomp rocket. which is really what I would like to get. The reading challenge will begin on June 1st. And from June 19th to July 28th, our branch will host a variety of programs for the community. Together with the Cajon Valley School District, we serve approximately 180 to 200 lunches 5 days a week to the children of El Cajon. We then provide fun programs for kids after lunch, including performers, crafts, and this year we will have a summer STEAM program for tweens and teens, focusing on science, technology, engineering, art, and math. This summer, our teens will get to create tie-dyed T-shirts, make healthy smoothies, and participate in Teen Iron Chef. And the teens get very creative with their food choices. So if anybody wants to take my place as a tasting judge, let me know, because it can get kind of scary. And finally, we have really exciting adult series this summer called DIY Days. So adults will learn about vermicomposting, which is composting with worms, raising chickens, and brewing beer at home. So I really hope that everybody comes out and visits the library this summer. We so appreciate the city's continued support, and we hope to see you soon.
Great. Let me see if there's any questions before you run out. No? All right. Thanks very much. Welcome.
Thank you.
When do you officially start?
Well, I'm always there, but when Hildy leaves the 31st, so I'll be taking over on the 1st.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sunshine Horton.
Hey, Sunshine, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mayor, council members, staff, and everybody behind me. Hope everybody's doing good. I'm not. My age is catching up. I have a sciatic, is that what you call it?
Yeah.
Nerve in the back. Anyway, I wanted to tell you, I've been in 4 parts of the county talking about May 20th. Chula Vista, Imperial Beach, College area, and National City. I've been talking a lot about what's coming on the 20th here in America and Main Street. And also, if I could say it in Ben Calashio's language, I want to say Happy Mother's Day, the 14th, and Feliz Dia de las Madres tomorrow for Mexican Mother's Day. And I cannot wish, my friends in that area because I don't know the language. But I want to read, I have a little book of a lot of friendship things, and I want to read 2 of them. It says, let us be what we are and speak what we think. I do all the time. And in all things, keep ourselves loyal to truth and the sacred possessions of friendship. And then the other one is, God evidently does not intend us all to be rich, powerful, or great. But He does intend us all to be friends. Try it. I have been friends forever. It has opened doors. My character and my heart has gotten me where I am. And I do love the world. I am very kind of upset that they use a lot of the races. Because when I was growing up, which I go back to when Pelé was playing. That's how old I am. I go back to when he was famous, just a little kid. Soccer. Anyway, where was I? See, I forget. I was talking about things and I forgot. Please help me.
Races.
Yes. In those days, we had problems, but we never kept pushing the word so much on TV and everything. Anything you say, you're racist. That I don't like. I erase it from I love everybody as a person, because that's what we are, people. Now, if the president even is against me purposely in something that I don't deserve, then I won't like him. I won't be racist, but I just won't accept it. So I am not like that, and I don't, every time I see the news, I hear it, and I says, how can we make the kids grow without that, or bullying? Look at what just happened to that boy. He had a suicide note on his pocket. So we need to know our kids. I did in those days. I knew my kids. We need to get together and love our kids and make them understand. Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Sajjan.
I have no more cards under public comment.
Okay. There are no written communications. Item 3.1 is a public hearing on an amendment of specific plan number 182. Staff, would you please tell us about this?
Mayor and Council, before we give you the formal presentation about the downtown parking project here, I think it's important to acknowledge what the public speaker said about parking in front of his business. This sounds like really an issue of parking management with the courthouse. We as staff, we will certainly convey this information to the court management and ask them to remind their staff as well as their customers to park on site. You can see from the image behind me that the courthouse, which is here, and that's parking indicated with parking label number 3, that there's approximately about 400 parking spaces on site. This should be enough to for their customers as well as their staff. And as you know, a lot of the jurors and some of their staff park on off-site at the Motor World Shopping Center. So we understand the concerns of the public speaker, and that's something that we'll convey to the courthouse management and ask them to address that. But again, it sounds like a management issue regarding where is availability of parking in the downtown. And so that's where we start with this project. In terms of the Downtown Master Plan Amendment. But let me give you a little background. As you all know, the Downtown Master Plan was created and to design a mixed-use urban village in the downtown. It includes special development standards and design requirements for new developments while emphasizing a pedestrian-friendly environment. It also provides for reduction or elimination of standard parking by conditional use permit, because it was thought at the time that there was not sufficient parking in the downtown. This amendment was adopted or approved by the City Council in 2000. Now, most of the and since 2000, there have been there has been 21 conditional use permits processed. All those conditional use permits were approved for this parking reduction for a total amount of 671 parking spaces. And most of these were for developments in the downtown core, where there are more than 1,000 parking spaces, public parking spaces, available, either in public parking lots or on street. And this table that you have here shows you where, at the core, where there are more than 1,000 parking spaces. You know, the public parking lot out front there on Magnolia has 120. There are more than 400 over here at Regional Courts. And most of those parking spaces are available in off hours. However, during the daytime, when a lot of businesses are open in concert with here at what's going on at the Civic Center, there is anywhere between 22 and 30% vacancy during peak demand on Main Street alone. And this was substantiated by an analysis that was done in 2015 by Michael Baker International. So back to the image that we just started with. We think the real issue here is about the management and the availability and recognizing where parking is available. And that has to do with signage and distribution of information to the public, as well as customers to our businesses and the Civic Center. So staff recognizes that visitors may find it difficult to find where parking is available. So in the upcoming budget, we've programmed a new CIP project, and that project is designed to fabricate and install new wayfinding signs. So you see in your agenda reports, as well as in the image behind me, up in the left-hand corner, you see the existing sign design. It's a large circle with a P in the middle. And it's throughout the downtown, and it's supposed to indicate where parking is available. However, I think most people, because of the color, find it difficult to recognize. And some may not necessarily mean what the P means. So this CIP project shows this new design, which you see just immediately underneath. Has a city logo in the middle with a bit of a sunburst and an arch, and it does say public parking, and it directs folks to where these public parking spaces are available. And as I mentioned, there are more than 1,000 spaces in the downtown. But in the downtown core, but in the downtown overall, there are more than 2,200 public parking spaces available. So we will work with our downtown partners. That includes the PBID as well as the East County Chamber of Commerce. This proposed amendment to eliminate the requirement for conditional use permits in line with the city's strategy to streamline the development process. It would eliminate the need for conditional use permit for a change of use in an existing building, and parking for substantial additions or for new development projects such as the hotel across the street. That would be addressed through the applicable the applicable planning permit in concert with any required analysis prepared by a traffic engineer or another engineer of certification to prepare such analysis. So the Planning Commission recommended that City Council approve the proposed amendment to the Downtown Master Plan on April 8th, and staff recommends that the City Council do the same. And staff is available to answer any questions.
Okay. Thank you, Tony. Council, any questions? Okay. So the public hearing is now open. Belinda, do we have any speaker cards?
Yes, I do have 2 cards. The first speaker is Eric Lund.
Hello again, Eric.
Hello again, Mayor, City Council, and staff. We would like to state on behalf of the Chamber support to make an amendment to the master plan. We think it's great whenever the city comes up with ideas that will streamline processes and make it easier for planning and to help make that a more serviceable aspect of government. We do have hundreds of parking spots in the downtown area, and even our parking lot where our chamber office, which is a block away, 2 blocks away from the corridor, the Main Street corridor, there's always parking available in that lot, pretty much. Also, one solution for the parking in front of businesses that have very temporary, customers that come in and come out might be the idea of putting green striped 30-minute parking spots, have a few of those in front of some of the businesses. That could be a great solution to help solve that problem. So again, the Chamber would like to voice its support of the amendment to the master plan, and we appreciate your work. Thank you.
Let me see if there's any questions, Council. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Darrell Priest.
Hey, Darrell.
Well, how we doing?
It's good to see you.
Good. I took a little trip down memory lane, and I when we did the corner of Main and Magnolia was in 1999, so Bob and myself were still around, or were around at that time. So I've been a proponent of this for a long time. One of the things that without the reduced parking, that you end up with buildings that you literally can't do. The building on Main and Magnolia where Borrego Health is at, when we originally, and that was one of the things that started the revision in the year 2000, is when we looked at that lot, and that was the premier corner, and we took it over. We looked at the current parking standards, and basically we could build about a 10,000 square foot building with a giant parking lot around it, is what it actually came out to when we looked at the parking standards. So I was here when we relaxed them in 2000. There is a lot of parking available. I think that, and I agree with the gentleman from the New York Bakery, that we probably do need some enforcement, and we really do need to look at Main Street, because there is a lot of people that park there, but there is ample parking around. People just have to walk. But you know how human nature is. When they park there one time, they're thinking, I don't want to walk an extra half a block. I've been saying since I started redeveloping in El Cajon that the day we have a parking problem is the day we mission accomplished. Because when I first started building here, you couldn't give away the property. People forget where my office building is at. That was in escrow 6 or 7 times. It was on the market for 7 or 8 years, and people forget that the appraisal on that property that I bought it for, which seems ridiculous right now, was $65,000 for the fully improved lot. But that was the city's appraisal, and they still couldn't sell it. at that time for that. It was a Howard's Bakery, and Bob remembers all this. We had one proposal after another. They come to the council, so it shows you how far that we've come with downtown. I mean, downtown has come, a long, long ways. I wish that Doug would have been here when we had all that redevelopment money. Downtown would look a little different, but, we have what we have. It'd be in a lot better shape. And I think for the New York bakeries, a lot of those buildings were built in the 20s and 30s. I know I'm getting off topic. But if we could give them some relief with some 30-minute or 1-hour parking, I think that would help them. And then that would force people to walk a little farther. So I'm in total support. I've been in support of this forever. I was part of the amendment that we did in 2000, and I'm proud of downtown El Cajon. It's taken us a while. But we do need to protect the New York bakeries and the other small businesses there, too. But if you look, I don't think there's a for sale sign anywhere downtown. You look at the property values, and I know that I couldn't buy that lot today for $65,000. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Gerald. Let me see if there's any questions for you.
Sure.
No?
Okay.
No, I appreciate it. And listen, as always, we really appreciate all the dedication you've given to building in El Cajon.
Yeah, thank you. And also, too, thank you for recognizing those kids from El Cajon. I had the pleasure of traveling with them to all their meets and stuff, and what a bunch of great kids that they have there. And they got terrific staff there at the high school, and they're doing a great job. Thank you.
Yeah, El Cajon Valley is really stepping up in sports, huh?
Yeah. Well, I live by a saying, positive makes positive and negative makes negative, right? And they're doing the positive things right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Darrell.
I have no more cards for this item.
All right, I make a motion then to close the public hearing. Please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
Okay. Item 3.2 is a public hearing on zoning code amendment number 432.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor.
Wrong place?
I'm sorry to interrupt. We do need to have a motion on the staff recommendation.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. So moved by Bob. Do you have a second? Let's move the second. Please vote.
I'm sorry, that we had already closed the public hearing, so we just need a motion whether or not to introduce the ordinance.
That was his motion. You want to do it again?
No.
Okay.
The motion carries by unanimous vote, and with your permission, may I read the title of the ordinance?
Please do.
An ordinance amending specific plan number 182, streamlining the development permit process by eliminating the need for a conditional use permit for reduced parking. And that's it.
Okay, good. Thank you. Item 3.2 is a public hearing on zoning code amendment number 432. Staff, would you please tell us about this?
Mayor and Council, typically each year we do an omnibus zoning code update. However, this year it was necessary that we address one issue, and that's accessory dwelling units ahead of our omnibus update. Now, currently, the zoning code already addresses what we would call now second-family units, or what most people might refer to as granny flats. However, the state adopted new regulations late last year and went into effect January 1. So the rush to amend the rush to amend the zoning code is reflective of that. So the Planning Commission on February 7th approved a resolution to initiate this amendment. So some of the new requirements that we have in the zoning code will be new terms that address accessory dwelling units. There are changes to parking. So tandem parking must now be allowed or not required if the accessory dwelling unit is part of the main structure, or if it's within a half-mile of transit, and even if there's a car share program nearby. However, the city can regulate size, and because most of the single-family lots in the city of El Cajon are about 6,000 square feet, we're maintaining the maximum size of 640 square feet. The code does have to allow for conversion of existing structures, so that could mean an existing garage could be converted, a hobby shop or a rec room could be converted to an accessory dwelling unit. And we're streamlining the process, so we're taking the requirement for a planning entitlement, which used to be an administrative zoning permit, and we're going straight to building permits. The state has also addressed what's called a junior accessory dwelling unit. These are located within an existing residence. They will require at least a bedroom and perhaps an efficiency kitchen. They may share a bathroom, but they do not have to have their own. These will be limited to 500 square feet. No additional parking can be required, and they will have to use the existing utilities. There can be no requirement to have separate water, sewer, or power connections. And again, the process to permit will be streamlined. It will be just through the building permit process. So changes have been made to the zoning code in definitions, as well as the land use table, development standards, and we've also incorporated performance standards so that the council and others know the property owner must live on the property. This is in line with state law. The property must live in one of the 2 units. For the granny flats, the accessory dwelling units, there is a 30-day minimum stay requirement. The unit cannot be sold individually. Of course, the whole property would have to be sold as a package, and a notice of restriction will be recorded against the property to ensure that these performance standards are found in title. So if the property is sold, the new buyers will know what they're obligated to follow. So with that, the Planning Commission recommended the City Council approve these changes on April 18th, and the staff recommends that the Council move to introduce the ordinance for this zoning code amendment. And staff is available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Tony. Let me see if there's any questions. Ben?
We don't have an Airbnb policy or anything written, I think. So how does the new policy contrast with that? Because I know it says like minimum 30-day stays and things like that.
Mayor and Council, the city does not have a specific ordinance regulating Airbnb. The proposed minimum stay is to ensure that the housing goals by the state are being met in terms of long-term availability and not transient.
Okay.
So I have a question about the 640 square feet maximum size of the first unit you talked about. What was the term of it's not granny flats anymore. What are they called now?
Accessory dwelling units.
Accessory dwelling units, yes. So I assume that that's 10% of the average size lot?
That's about 10%, yes.
It seems like a very small, kind of restrictive number. Was there any consideration to having some flexibility in that if you had a larger lot?
No. It was not addressed in that manner.
Would there be state law or code regulations prohibiting that?
State law just says that the maximum cannot be more than 1,200.
Okay. Let's see if there's some more questions. I want to discuss that more. Bob?
If it's 640 feet, could it be 2-story?
It's possible.
640 on the top and 640 on the bottom?
No, sir. 640 total.
Okay.
Does garage count as living space at that point?
It does not.
Okay. Questions? All right. Thank you, Tony.
Well.
The public hearing is now open. Belinda, do we have any speaker cards?
No cards for this item.
I make a motion to close the public hearing. Moved and seconded. Please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
So, council, it's up for us to discussion. I want to say right off the top of the head that where I understand the concept of not wanting to go more than 10% of the lot size, I do think that's a pretty restrictive number, 640. And if state law allows us to go to 1,200, I'd be interested in at least discussing the concept of having some flexibility in that. So say you had a much larger lot, would it make sense to give people the ability to go a little higher in that? Any thoughts on that? Ben?
Yeah, I agree with your thinking, and a more important question would be, how about if it's a smaller house? Same size lot, smaller house. And then you can, if you have a smaller house that sits on a 6,000 square foot lot as opposed to a larger house, and then you're constrained that way. So I like your thinking process.
Any other thoughts on that? And certainly, staff, I want you to feel free to weigh in on this. If there's issues I'm not thinking about. I'd like to hear your thoughts, too, but let me see what the council has to say first. Gary, you're a real estate expert, so.
We could put something in there that says up to 10% of the size of the lot, up to a 10,000 square foot lot or 12,000 square foot lot, because we probably have a lot of properties up in Fletcher Hills that will lend themselves to that accessory unit. Especially because mom and pop are getting kind of old in many cases. The baby boomers may be looking for a place to stay that's close to their kids.
I like that idea. Ben?
Won't you then run into, like, example, if it's even a larger lot, isn't it more constrained on the size of the current house that's there? Because if you have a huge house on even a big lot, that would be, like, tight.
Yeah. Perhaps the only reason I mentioned that was because that's the standard that they were using to come up with that 640 square feet. So
Yeah, you're thinking right, and I just think it's more like you take the size of the lot into consideration, but also the size of the current house that's on there. You don't want the secondary dwelling or the granny flat to be the same size as the house.
Well, and a question, we're throwing a lot at you, but a question might also be is could we have a range in there and leaving it to the discretion of the council on each individual, because there aren't that many of these.
Mayor and Council, we usually don't get too many. However, when the state changed law, we got quite about, 5 or 6 that came through the system at the first part of the year, since folks had recognized the change in law. I think something to remember about 640 square feet, again, most of the properties in the city are 6,000. If you equate some type of percentage to other lots, you look at 40,000 square foot lots in Fletcher Hills or 20,000 square foot lots, 10% of that, you're looking at 2,000, 4,000.
Well,
the whole idea.
I think what we were talking about was having a maximum, like Gary said, having a maximum of 1,200. So to go no higher than 1,200 square feet, but using 10% as a guideline.
Yeah, some things that might keep in mind is that predominantly most of the single-family lots in the city are about 6,000. And in an effort to meet lot coverage, fire safety, separation of housing units between others in a single-family zone where they feel like folks aren't overwhelmed, 640 seemed to be the appropriate number.
Mr. Mayor, let me weigh in addition to what Tony just said. I think in listening to Councilmember Colossio's remark, also relating this to house size, there's not too many single-family homes in this town, and it's very common at a smaller size to be about 1,200 square feet, which is approximately twice as big as the 640. So if you're looking at something to quickly combine these and yet not let it get out of hand on a lot, because we all realize, and the council saw this, albeit with a condo project, but whenever you're building in an existing neighborhood, there's the potential for concern that you're overbuilding, whether we think so or not. A lot of neighbors do. And as Councilmember McClellan said, some of these can be two-story as well, which increases that. So it may be an idea of combining not more than 10% of the lot and cannot be more than 50% of the existing house. And the state law limits it to 1,200. So you've got 3 things there working together. I think if you wrap that, there wouldn't be a council discretion because this would go straight to building permit. It's a non-discretionary issue. They either meet the standard or they don't, like a setback, and then they're done. And so that's just an idea to share with the council if that meets your concerns.
That's why we need you so much, Doug. You come up with that's a good idea. I like that.
I've dealt with way too many granny flats. That's my problem.
All right, Gary, and then Bob.
Well, I agree with the city manager's comments. We don't want to change the character of the neighborhood. And we have many neighborhoods here that have 6,000 square foot lots with 1,200 square foot homes. So, the 640, for those would be appropriate. Then we have rather large lots up in Fletcher Hills, 10,000 square foot and up. And I think as long as the accessory unit does not, one caveat I'd like to have is the accessory unit does not exceed the size of the original house that's on there.
Doug suggested is it doesn't exceed 50% of the main house. So it's a three part. One is not more than 10%. Number 2 is not more than 1,200, no matter how big the lot size is. and then also no more than 50% of the size of the original house.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The other thing we need to talk about is if you've got a single-family home neighborhood, Tony, I'm not sure I understood that. Are they allowed to put a second story on there on the accessory building?
Yes, there's, you can have a two-story accessory dwelling within 640. You can put it on top of an existing garage or on the existing house.
Do we have to do that by right, or can it be at the subject of the city council's approval?
It has to be done by right.
Well, see, one of the problems when you have a two-story accessory building in a single-story neighborhood, the neighbors aren't going to like that because the new, they bought a neighborhood, let's say that's single-story, and they don't like people peering over the fence looking at them.
But I think that's going to be the issue no matter what the size.
Right. And
even the 640 houses are going to be possibly 2 stories. Because you can put a garage below it.
Right. I'm not, we want to really think about this because we have many people come in here on new development saying, well, wait, they're going to be looking over my backyard in this new development and on the second floor. So I think before we proceed, we want to make sure that that's something that's acceptable to us. Is it acceptable if you live in a one-story neighborhood to all of a sudden have a two-story accessory building? It doesn't, in my mind, doesn't quite fit the character of the neighborhood. If they're all single-story homes.
I'm not sure what leeway we have in that respect. Bob?
Some of the lots are bigger than 6,000 square feet. Some of them have 10, 12, 14,000 square feet. In those cases, I imagine they could even split the lot and have a second building on that or a second residence, which we've seen some of that, I believe, in the past, where they have like a panhandle driveway or something like that. So that's another thing that if your lot's big enough, you can have that second, probably bigger than 640 feet. So anyway, that might be another avenue we want to think about.
What, you want to comment on that?
No, I just want to throw out a couple of things, something to remember. One, that the opportunity or the provisions allow for the conversion of existing structures. So some existing structures like a rec room or a garage might only be 3 feet away from the side or rear property line. So if you imagine a second dwelling unit on top of that, that could be pretty imposing to your neighbors. So one of the things the council might want to consider is prohibiting a two-story or second-family units or accessory dwelling units, or that the unit itself be on top of an existing structure.
Well, I understand where you're going with that, but to my point of view, it's really infringing upon property rights. I think people have property as long as it's legal, moral, and ethical to do what they want to do. I think usually they should be allowed to do with what they want as their property.
I agree. And then another thing is, if you're in a single-story street and then your neighbor builds a flat with 2 stories, I mean, it just adds to the comp. So you're going to get the people that are going to complain like all the time anyway. So they're going to be happy when they go to sell it, and then they have comps near them with permitted with bigger square footage. But I like what Doug said.
Steve, you have any thoughts?
I do. I guess my first thought is the Planning Commission vetted this and voted 5-0 to approve it, 4-0, 5-0 to approve it. So I have to kind of say they've done a lot of vetting. Number 2, at what point does a granny flat become a house? What point does a 1,200 square foot granny flat become bigger than some houses in El Cajon? And does that truly change the character? On the other hand, property rights. So I think a balance of the formula of no more than 50% of the square foot of the primary thing, no more than 10% of the lot size. I would agree with no second stories. So I think the combination of what I've heard is comfortable enough for me.
Okay, then with your permission, I'd like to make a motion. Make a motion that we approve this with the exception that lot size, or the house size could go up to a maximum of 1,200 square feet, given that it's no more than 10% of the property size, and that it's no more than 50% of the size of the existing house. Is there a second?
Mayor and Council, before you finish that motion, it might be, you might want to recognize that you set a minimum standard, so the city has had a minimum standard of 640 square feet. Just keep in mind, there are single-family lots that are 6,000 square feet, some might be less. So if we set the minimum at 10%, we're going a little smaller than what the standard is now.
So you recommend the minimum?
You could set a minimum of 640.
Well, I think that's reasonable. I mean, building a 200 square foot condo might be, and there are these mini homes that people are pushing right now. So I get that. So I would add to my my motion that the minimum size be 640 square feet.
You're not saying banning second story, or?
I'm not saying it's banning second story.
Because I think you did. Okay.
I'll go on a case-by-case basis on the second story.
Okay.
I second.
Moved and seconded. Please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote. And with your permission, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to recite the title of the ordinance.
Please do.
An ordinance amending Title 17 of the El Cajon Municipal Code regarding accessory dwelling units. And that's it.
Great, thank you. Item 4.1 pertains to the City Council meeting schedule. I'd like to ask staff to please. Did I miss that? I'm sorry, I'm just missing everything today. Item 3.3 is a public hearing on a public nuisance at 1305 Broadway. Staff, please tell us about this.
Thank you, Mayor Wells, City Council. What you see here, I've got a small presentation for you. You have my staff report. You've read it. Before as a preface as to this presentation that I'm about to show you, just to let you know, we have done this activity. This is concerning 1305 Broadway. It's very likely that we'll have a similar case very close to this, and that you will see that very soon. So when you see this presentation, it's all based on the idea that this issue has been resolved. But there may be another one that you will see later on. Okay, sorry, let me see. There we go. On March 28, 2017, the Building and Fire Safety Division received an anonymous phone call reporting that the business at 1305 Broadway was practicing restraint of the exiting system by use of magnetic door locks on the exit doors. When installed without overrides and other safety features, magnetic locks on the exit doors only allow a person to exit if a staff person pushes a button to allow the door to open. This violates the building code, fire code, and El Cajon Municipal Code, creates a dangerous condition for the building occupants who may not be able to exit the building during the panic of a fire or other emergency. Attempts to contact the business owners of Cannabis Cup Collective were not returned. On March 28, 2017, a request was made to SDG&E to remove the meter from the property in order to remove the hazards involved with restraining the exiting system. On April 13, 2017, the electric meter was removed from the building by SDG&E with assistance from the El Cajon Police Department in order to keep the peace during the meter removal. At no time during this contact would the building occupants open the door or respond to our request to discuss the situation. A subsequent recheck of the property on April 19, 2017, revealed that the tenants had resumed operation by installing a generator on site. At this point, the magnetic locks were again in operation, and the safety of the electrical system itself was compromised due to lack of adequate grounding of the electrical system and circuit breaker protection. Staff again attempted to contact both the business owner and the occupants of the building, but at no time were they willing to open the locked door or talk to us through the door concerning the alterations to the electrical system. On April 20, 2017, a summary abatement was conducted by disconnecting the generator from the building. The rental company then reclaimed their generator and removed it from the site. The occupants were, again, non-responsive to our attempts to discuss the code violations on the property. And here are some pictures. This is the generator, pretty large generator. They had conductors that you'll see going up to the roof. And from that point, we don't know where they went, but they went somewhere. I don't know if you only see two conductors. There's no ground conductor. The generator itself was not grounded. We don't know how they connect to the electrical system. So there were some definite life safety concerns. And if you have questions, I'm here to answer those.
Council questions? Steve?
Well, this is a great reason why the building department might consider a drone. Because if you could see up there how it's connected, that would add more information to the discussion. Someday that might be something worth consideration.
We've actually thought along those lines, believe it or not. That's probably coming sometime in the future.
Bob?
Isn't this the old Jerusalem Corner bookstore years ago?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
I mean,
that's a little.
I think the owner passed away or something, and then they couldn't.
I don't think this is the same building. It's right behind Conroy's Florist. It's the one right behind Conroy's Florist.
Okay, it's a little closer to Magnolia then.
Yeah, it's not the same. I don't think it's the same building. You have my recommendations. That's my report.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. All right, Council, actually, I'm going to open the public hearing now. Belinda, do we have any speaker cards?
Yes, I have one card from Andre Z. Handler.
Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning, honored council members and staff. A couple of quick comments. My wife's been here since 1960. I think she's gone swimming in Mr. McClellan's pool at some point in time. Time that she moved here, Broadway was dirt. The location that was just pointed out to you is at the corner of 2nd and Broadway. And I am the individual who did not make an anonymous call. I called and said my name, and I reported the magnetic locks. And I've been observing this property, and I know that the people moved 2 doors away to where they are now. I also am a commercial drone operator approved by the FAA, and I have offered to use my drone if at any time Mr. Pavao or anybody else would like to use those services, I would do it for free. And I do have an FAA certification as a remote pilot and also as a regular pilot. I've been flying out of El Cajon since 1977. The problem really is that this place and the place these people moved to is an ongoing problem. And I would like to commend the city. I understand there's a recommendation for an additional code inspector, which I think will greatly help the situation. I also believe that there is a plan to resolve everything in a much more professional way with a much greater amount of consideration being given to how to solve this problem. And I'd like to commend the city and the staff and those involved for what they're doing. And I myself, I'm very patient and look forward to seeing those changes, which I realize will take some time. I just would like you to know that it is ongoing. The people that surround this facility 2 doors away are very much people that you don't want around your community. They're not likable people. It's bringing the wrong type of person to that particular neighborhood, a retail neighborhood. And I would commend you to continue with the hard work and good work that everybody is doing. And with that, I leave it be and to tell you that I'm pleased to see that Broadway is now paved and no longer dirt. And we actually have 17,000 square feet with little properties on it. And our properties are all under 500 square foot single-family residences, just as a point of information. Thank you, sir.
Let me see if there's any questions for you. Questions? Thank you for coming, sir. Thanks for bringing this to our attention in the first place.
You're welcome. I will continue to observe it.
Yeah, please do. This is an ongoing problem. Doug, you had told me I think there were 28 of these we've had over the course of time. And we've closed almost 22 of them?
We've closed 25, and I think we have 6 or 7 currently open.
Okay, yeah. So, this is an ongoing battle, and we're going to keep fighting the fight. So thank you for telling us.
Oh, you're welcome. Somebody else has made a very interesting comment, which is these people are very difficult to remove. They're almost like a cockroach because they just keep on coming no matter what you do. And so it does require a very comprehensive plan, and I would very much promote that the City Council work on that comprehensive plan.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I have no other cards for this item.
All right, make a motion then to close public hearing.
Second.
Please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
All right, Council, I'll leave it to you.
Question for the city manager.
Go ahead, Karen.
I assume we're limited to the 120125 tax lien. Are we able to go any higher than that? Or is it just the cost we have to recover?
Well, for the present, Mr. Kendrick, that's the limit we have. If we have to go back and enforce it as a public nuisance further, we will begin issuing the citations that result in higher penalties than that on a daily basis. It goes up from 100 to, I think, 200 and to 500 as a maximum each day for each violation.
Okay, thank you.
How about where they move 2 doors down? Are we on top of that?
Yeah, we are exploring the possibilities for an immediate abatement of that problem. So I don't want to get into too many details, but we are working on that.
Any other comments? Somebody like to make a motion? Motion's made to approve.
Second.
Seconded. Please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
All right. Then up to item 4.1 pertains to the City Council meeting schedule. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Usually about this time each year, we bring this question to council. If you're interested in canceling the second meeting in August, the city has done it for several years in a row, as do many other cities, as a bit of a summer break, but it's also an acknowledgement that there has a tendency to be less public hearing items from the private industry during the late summer. So if you're going to cancel one, usually late August or mid-August is the right time to do it. Thank you.
Any questions, staff? No. Okay, Belinda, are there any speaker cards on this item?
No cards on this item.
All right, council, any discussion or somebody would like to make a motion?
Move to recommend.
Second.
Moving second, please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
Item 4.2 is a proposal for additional full-time code compliance officer. Staff, please tell us about this.
Thank you. This is in response to an earlier item brought to the City Council. And what we have attempted to do is get some background on what our current program is and what it looks like. We gave some specific details on issues that I knew council members had earlier expressed concerns about: shopping carts, signs, graffiti, and a few other things. We've outlined what the primary use of a second full-time code enforcement officer or code compliance officer would be, and we do believe it would be useful, and we could put them to great use. The council's primary discussion when you discussed this last time, specifically from Councilmember Goebel, was items that were very visually obvious and deteriorating the community's reputation from a visual standpoint, and also talking about the issue of trash. And so in this staff report, we've tried to focus on those as being the key primary things that a second code compliance officer would be able to focus on.
Thank you, staff. Belinda, do we have any speaker cards?
No speaker cards for this item.
Council, if you'd like to have some discussion, or somebody like to make a motion, Mr. Goebel?
This is something that is important, I think, to the city, as we have builders investing millions of dollars in new homes around the city, as we have hotels, investing many millions of dollars in hotels as we are getting ready to invite people from outside the region to ECPAC to come enjoy some concerts here, perhaps in the next year or so. It's important for us to have the city looking, our home looking good for our guests. And so I'm surprised by the numbers of the caseload of the current code enforcement officer. I'm surprised by 89 arrests and 300 carts. I'm surprised that we have 520 to 780 per year by Public Works. I think it's time for us to be a little more tough on some of this visual blight in our city, and I think the people would appreciate that.
Let me see if there's any other comments or questions. Mr. Colosio?
I might have overlooked it. Is this for a one-year contract?
No. Well, I mean, the council obviously approves your budget every year, so you could make it that way, but our intention is this would be a permanent, full-time code enforcement officer that once we hired that person, they would stay year to year.
Mary?
Well, this will pay us dividends when the investors look at the city. When they drive through, they're not going to see so many signs tacked up on telephone poles and things that make the city look bad, and that means a lot to this city and for the investment and jobs that result as a result of that investment. So I think this is something that we really need.
Somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve item 4.2, that we create an additional full-time code compliance officer.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
All right, there are no commission reports. Item 6.1 is my activities report, as has reported. Item 6.2 is the legislative report. And I'd like to bring up a bill that has some momentum in the Assembly and is a concern to me and the city staff. The bill is AB 1250 by Assemblymember Jones Sawyer, making contracting out for services much more onerous and costly for local government agencies. There are several aspects of this bill that bring about great concern. A few of these include, one, it eliminates local agency hiring discretion by limiting cities' ability to utilize a contract for the sole purpose of cost savings through salaries and benefits. Two, it requires a city before entering a contract or renewing a contract to perform a full economic analysis of the potential impacts of outsourcing, including the impact on local businesses if consumer spending power is reduced, among other factors, obviously designed to chill by the amount of cost and effort. And it mandates the city to conduct a full environmental impact analysis caused by contracting out for the service, and again, designed solely to chill the prospect of trying to save money by contracting. So as a result of these items, AB 1250 places substantial burdens on local agencies by adding unnecessary requirements that impede on local control. Organizations such as the League of California Cities have come out in opposition to AB 1250, and it is recommended that the City Council take an opposed position on this bill as well. And that is my report.
So move.
Let's move. Is there a second on that?
Second.
Move and second. Please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
Thank you. All right, we're at activity report for council members. Councilmember Kendrick.
As reported.
Councilmember McClellan.
I didn't put down, but I did attend the police awards. Also, I went to the Harry Griffin Park meeting, and it was brought up that Helix Irrigation, I have the information here, wanted to reduce their percentage of contribution to the Harry Griffin Park, and it would about double the amount that El Cajon would be putting in, is what they were thinking about. They're going to have some meetings later, and I told them that I didn't know that El Cajon wanted to continue to participate in the JPA because we just border the park. We don't have any property in the park, so I I put that out there, but I don't know how much good it'll do, but it would double our contribution just about from what they're proposing of $77,000 to $154,000. So I don't think that's good. That's Helix property that has their
Mayor.
thing there. They
Mr. McClellan?
Yes.
This is the time for reports of the meetings you attended, but I think we're straying a bit to something that may have to come back to the city council, so it better be left for something you place on the agenda, if you wouldn't mind.
Very good.
I'll just mention, Councilmember McClellan and I have discussed this, staff is aware of this as well, and in conjunction with Councilmember McClellan, it's my intention to bring this issue to council very quickly.
Excellent.
Also, I had a gentleman call me, I think his name is Joe Spinelli, and he did a lot of condo conversions. I told him to call Doug, because there are some expired PUDs or something like that for condos or conversions, and he'd like to reinstitute those, and I told him to get a hold of you so that he could talk to you about that. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Bob. Councilmember Colosio.
As I've reported them.
Councilmember Goebel.
As reported.
Joint council member reports. Item 11.1 is a proposal for a referral incentive program for attracting police officers. And I am placing this on the agenda as well as Councilmember
Henry.
Harry Kendrick. Of course. Sorry, I got distracted there for a second. Gary, you want to talk about this, or?
Well, you go ahead and take this, Bill.
Okay, well, I've got a long report I could read to you, but it's very simple. We have 122 positions for police officers. We don't have all those positions filled right now. It's very difficult to fill those positions. It takes almost a year from the time somebody shows interest in becoming a police officer to actually get them hired. It takes almost a year. So our proposal is that we put in a referral process and an incentive program so that we can attract current police officers in other departments. And if an officer had a friend who was working for another department, he could encourage him to come and apply, or her to come and apply for our police department, and that officer would get a referral bonus, and the officer that came would get an incentive bonus. And I think it would be a much less expensive way of attracting talent than it would be of going through the process that we're doing, although we'll continue the recruiting process. And that's basically it.
Yeah, we would save the citizens of the city a lot of money by not having to train the police officers if we can get lateral transfers from other agencies. And this would be a win-win for us.
Thanks, Gary. Any questions? Or
how does the staff feel about this?
Well, this would be an item to refer it back to staff, and of course, we'd bring it back a report if council wanted us to. This is an issue that's come up before, but it's quite frankly just fallen by the wayside with other higher priority labor issues that were discussed. But in talking to the mayor about this, I also talked to the police chief, and we think that it's time. It could be really helpful to us. There's just a couple of cities, plus the sheriff's department right now in San Diego County that have this, including Escondido, where Graham Mitchell served, and we've talked about that, and it has been useful there. And as I shared with the mayor when he asked me about this, it takes us so long to be able to go through a recruitment process, and once even they get here, they go through the academy, and once they're done at the academy, we keep them in a car with another person and in training for up to 6 months before we deem them ready to be a full-fledged El Cajon police officer. So if we can attract a few laterals, we've had a couple, but only a couple. If we could attract a few laterals, that would be great.
How about advertisement in some kind of a California police thing? Come to San Diego County, enjoy the weather, and get out of the rain. And
I'll talk to the police chief about that. I don't want to, I probably don't want to poach too many from our friends right around us, but I have no problem poaching them from Los Angeles.
Right.
Why are you working in
or up
Los
north.
Angeles when you
How
could be
about
working
San
here?
Francisco or Sacramento
Yeah.
or wherever.
Gary?
You know, another thing to keep in mind that our requirements to hire a police officer are very stringent. I mean, we only hire 1 out of 100 applicants, the ones that have to pass the background test, the psychological test, the physical test, all those things, and we really do want to have the best of the best. So I remember 30 years ago when I was an appraiser, just got hired on, and we had all these headhunters coming trying to snatch us out because all of a sudden the interest rates dropped and they didn't have enough appraisers around, and they were paying for referrals, and a lot of people got their jobs that way by referrals from people in other savings and loans. So it really does work. People in the same kind of industry, and police, and that's an industry, and they all talk to each other. And I think that El Cajon police have a really good reputation in this state. I think that referrals could really help us get some quality individuals.
So what we're asking is to refer back to staff, to come back with a full report, and we can discuss the specifics of it at that time. I'd like to make a motion to do that. Second it, please vote.
Second.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
Belinda, I think I neglected to ask you if there are any speaker cards on that.
No cards for that.
Okay, so we're okay. All right, thank you. All right, there are no general information items or readings of ordinances, and that brings us to closed session. Item 15.1 is conference with labor negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. May we have a motion to adjourn to closed session? Moved and seconded, please vote.
The motion carries by unanimous vote.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll go to closed session. We'll come back soon and report on the findings of closed session and continue on with the meeting. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back and turn it over to our counselor to explain what happened in closed session.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. The City Council met in closed session for a conference with its labor negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. Directions were given to the negotiators, and that's all we have to report.
This brings us to adjournment, the regular joint meeting of the El Cajon City Council, El Cajon Housing Authority successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency, held this 9th day of May 2017, is adjourned to this evening, May 9th, 2017, at 7 o'clock p.m.